Welcome back. Let's get you details of the big story from Karnataka as a war over Hindi is back. 2 days ahead of the Hindi Diwas event, the former Chief Minister and JDS Chief HD Kumaraswamy has written a letter to Chief Minister Bommai against the celebrations of what he called union government-sponsored event in the state.
Now, the JDS leader has said that celebrating Hindi Diwas in the state would be a supreme insult to the Kannadigas. He has also urged Chief Minister Bommai not to use the taxpayers' money for the event if it is celebrated. Kumaraswamy has also stated that it holds no meaning for those whose mother tongue is not Hindi, and it demanded that this event in its entirety be scrapped.
Hindi is just another language. It is not a national language. We Kannadigas, 6.4 crore Kannadigas, are very proud of our culture, our language, our tradition, our customs. And the national government, the central government trying and imposing Hindi on us is totally uncalled for. 14th September, Hindi Diwas, which they want to celebrate here in Karnataka, I don't think Kannadigas would definitely like it. We from JDS, Kumaraswamy had clearly said, the language of our heart, of our culture, of our identity is Kannada. 6.4 crore people here in Karnataka identify with Kannada language. Imposing Hindi is absolutely, totally uncalled for. We respect every language, but imposition of any language would absolutely be having devastating effects on the federal system.
Well, this comes at a time when the BJP government has been facing criticism for pushing Hindi. Tomorrow, as the celebrations are being taken up, the JDS has written a letter to the Chief Minister saying that the celebrations of Hindi have no significance for the people of Karnataka as they do not speak the language. Kumaraswamy's letter says that the taxpayers' money goes down the drain when such celebrations are taken up in a place. Also saying that if such a celebration is taken up in Karnataka where people don't speak the language, then it's going to be injustice for the people of Karnataka.
But the former Chief Minister said that forcefully celebrating Hindi Diwas, which happens to be tomorrow on the 14th of September, would amount to injustice to the people of Karnataka. He's been talking about
Education Minister B.C. Nagesh joining us over the phone line. Mr. Nagesh, the criticism or a letter coming from the JDS says that Hindi celebration should not be taken up because it has no meaning for the people of Karnataka. How do you respond?
Sorry that ex-Chief Minister is speaking like that.
Yes, sir, please.
It's really, after taking position like Chief Minister, their vision should go higher than a small places. The Hindi Diwas was not started after Modi became the Prime Minister or BJP came to the power. At least he should know such things. Even when Deve Gowda ji was Prime Minister of the country, Hindi Diwas was done. Hindi Diwas was done since 1949. So, as many countries feel that language where majority people are speaking in the country, everyone should know about. No one, he is right in one part. No one can be forced to celebrate Hindi Diwas. That I too accept. One should not force one to.
No, but he has said that the taxpayers' money is being spent on this, so he said it's injustice for the people of Karnataka.
I doesn't know what is the amount of spent on Hindi Diwas. I doesn't know. And I should now clarify from Kumaraswamy ji when was Hindi Diwas done when he was the Chief Minister, and when the Hindi Diwas was done on that day, was that money was spent from his pocket or from the state? I doesn't know. I should know, clarify it now. And if he had so much interest, he was very, very near to the then Prime Minister Deve Gowda ji. He would have advised him to save such money so that nation, the GDP of the nation would have gone up by saving such amount.
But Mr. Nagesh, when it comes to the language controversy, it is not new to the state of Karnataka, sir. How do you plan to deal with such kind of a situation there, especially when it comes to the opposition party? Because they have been calling it as a Hindi imposition. Hindi is just another language, they say.
As I said that, opposing to oppose Modi and to oppose BJP, they oppose such things.
All right.
Okay.
I said all those who are, whether it is Siddaramaiah or it is Kumaraswamy, they had held the highest position of Karnataka. They would have, if they were very particular, they would have banned on that day.
Okay. Okay.
So
all right.
they now, when the election is very near, every issue they want to make it politicized. Whether it is language, whether it is Dharma, though they know the truth, they want to do some political game out of everything. I am really sorry. Since 1949, Hindi Diwas has been celebrated in this country. Now, why they are opposing? If they're ideologically, if they were opposing it, they would have removed when they were chief ministers. Siddaramaiah was chief minister for 5 years, and Siddaramaiah was chief minister for more than 3 years.
Okay.
I can't understand why they want to politicize every issue, and they want to take advantage of such issues.
Okay, all right. So they're just politicizing the issue. Mr. Nagesh, thank you for joining us on the broadcast with your thoughts. Let's also go across to Deepak Bopanna, who's joining us on the broadcast. Deepak, the response coming in from the BJP, we see Nagesh saying that this is just politics, whether it's Siddaramaiah, whether it's H.D. Kumaraswamy, if they are opposed to the Hindi Diwas, why did they not ban it when they were the Chief Minister of Karnataka? They're just trying to politicize the issue and rake in the emotions ahead of the elections in the state.
Yes, we've seen in the past as well issues pertaining to Hindi imposition take center stage, especially with elections around the corner. You can definitely, have, the Congress and the JDS come out all guns blazing against the BJP over the plan to celebrate Hindi Diwas, and if they plan to do it on a big scale here in Karnataka. Now, more importantly, we should understand that in the past as well, whenever such issues have come to the fore, all political parties, of course, have been, looking at taking this matter up, and they say that the people of Karnataka are somewhere being let down, and the language of Kannada is being let down if another language is being given prominence and a day is being celebrated. So we'll really have to see, especially with the session as well being in place today, what sort of reactions come in from the politicians. The JDS has already said that this is going to be unfair to the Kannadigas if this is going to be celebrated on a grand scale. And overall, in the past as well, even last year, we saw a lot of opposition coming in from the regional parties and also the Congress party here, especially in southern India, especially when you consider this particular issue, be it in Karnataka or be it in Tamil Nadu. We've seen many politicians being quite vocal about it. We've also seen pro-Kannada activists as well raise certain objections to it. So we'll have to see, like the BJP now is saying that this is nothing but politics. Hindi Diwas has been celebrated in the past as well. Only now, because the elections are around the corner, this issue being raked up, this could be the defense coming in from the BJP as the charge begins from the opposition.
Right, so that is how we are looking at how the opposition seems to be escalating the matter. Mr. Rahman Khan is also with us because it is H.D. Kumaraswamy writing to Chief Minister Bommai saying that scrap this event. It is anyway public funds that is being used for it, and Hindi is not our language.
No, it is wrong to say that Hindi is not our language, but to impose Hindi is wrong, and it will not be accepted if you impose any language on anybody who is not, that is not their mother tongue in a regional state. So Hindi has to be learned. Nobody is against learning Hindi, but you cannot impose. So what is the meaning in celebrating a Hindi Day?
Okay. In fact, we just spoke to Mr. B.C. Nagesh as well, and he said whether it's Siddaramaiah, whether it's Kumaraswamy, when they say that they're opposed to Hindi, they also need to answer why they didn't do anything when they were in power. Siddaramaiah has been speaking about the Hindi imposition, but when he was the Chief Minister, why did he not ban the event? How do you respond to that?
No, it is not the question of banning it. This Kumaraswamy has said, don't, because people are not liking that. You see, if you have to, any language, it is a policy from Nehru's days that Hindi cannot be imposed. And the assurance has been given to the people, particularly in southern states, that it will not be imposed. So there is no meaning in celebrating a day.
Right, but there is no such talk of an imposition of the Hindi language that is being done. It is just a celebration of the language like many other languages in the country are celebrated. Thank you very much, Mr. Khan, for joining us here on the broadcast.